This will make your life easier instead of giving medication and stop. Trust me, this tip is gold. Okay, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. First, I want to say thank you guys so much to all my new subscribers. I see you. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking my video, and don't forget to leave your comments down below on any video suggestions that you may want to see from me. If there's any specific questions, I know some of you guys are either about to take your NCLEX, have finished taking your NCLEX, or are on orientation right now, or maybe some of you guys are thinking about starting nursing school, or whatever it may be. If you need any advice on any of those steps, don't forget to leave your comments down below, and I may either respond with a comment or with a video. And don't forget to keep liking my videos, because it definitely helps and it definitely lets me know that you guys want to see more of that. With this video, I'm actually responding to somebody who commented on my pros and cons of day shift for new LPN in long-term care. His name is, I'm so sorry if I butcher your name, I'm gonna try my best, Muiwa Mayer or Mayawa Mayer. So he said, your videos are really helpful, thank you so much. I am a new nurse and still in orientation for another week. Can you, oh wow, you're so lucky. Can you make a video on step-by-step 3 to 11 p.m. shift and doing med pass charting and etc. Thanks. Well, thank you so much, Mayor, for your comments. And yes, I will be covering that in this video. If I could explain 3 to 11 shift in like one go, I would say it's on your mark, get ready, get set, go. If you guys want to know how to master the 3 to 11 shift and see my response to Mayor's question, sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy the show, okay? Let's go. So basically, this is going to be a step-by-step guide. Remember that this advice, it really depends on what kind of nursing home that you're working in. Some nursing homes during the 3 to 11 shifts have 30 residents to take care of, even some up to 60. One time I had 60 at a nursing home that I worked in Queens, and some people have only 20, but with treatment. Sometimes you're doing treatment, sometimes you're doing not. So I'm just going to give you some general step-by-step tips. My first tip is when you first come in the nursing home, you're going to see which floor that you're on. Whether you work for the nursing home directly or whether you work for an agency who sends you to the nursing home, you're going to go and see where your name is posted, or you either go to the nursing home and see where your name is posted. And as I said in my previous nursing videos, even if it's a floor that you know is negative, or somebody's like, oh, that's a bad floor, don't listen to them. Come in with a positive mindset, as positive as you can be, because the more negative you are, the more negative you're going to attract to you. That's just personally what I believe. So when you first come on the floor, the first thing you're going to want to do after you put down your bags and everything is do your rounds. Because the thing about it is that during the 3 to 11 shift, I like to think of it like this. You are walking into a middle of a sentence. Like, let's say I'm making a sentence right now and you walk in. That is basically how the 3 to 11 shift is. In the morning shift, it's different because maybe patients are still sleeping. You know, family members are usually not there at 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. So you have time to relax and unzip your jacket, maybe get something to eat before you start your shift. But in 3 to 11 shift, things are already starting to roll. The day has already begun. Maybe you're walking into a fall that just happened, family members complaining or whatever. I'm not saying that it's always negative what happens, but just keep in mind that in the 3 to 11 shift, you are walking into the middle of somebody's day. So keep that in mind, all right? So you have to come as positive as possible and with as much energy as possible, even though it's sometimes hard. So the first thing you're going to want to do is like do your rounds. Make sure that all your patients are alive, because there are some nurses who will leave you with dead patients. And make sure that their G-tube, if they're on feeding, make sure that their G-tube is still connected to their abdomen, because some patients can remove their G-tube and dislodge their abdomen. If they have an IV, make sure their IV is still in their arm, because sometimes their IV can be infiltrated and nobody will tell you. Make sure also, it's very important, if their IV is finished, maybe the nurse forgot to flush her IV, and then 2-3 hours later into your shift, you go to that patient and then their IV is infiltrated, and now it's hard to flush it and give them your IV medication that's due. And then you have to call a supervisor and blah blah blah. So that's why it's important to do your rounds. I know some people, can be like really lazy and be like, oh, I'm not gonna do my rounds. But you know what? When you don't do your rounds, like, it's a big risk. I know it's so like everybody's like, oh, just do your rounds, but I know some nurses who don't do their rounds. So me, I like to be real. So that's my advice, is to just do your rounds so you don't have more work for you after that. So you're going to want to count your narcotics with other nurses, of course, and take your time counting the narcotics. Maybe they may be really in a rush to go home, but make sure you take your time, especially as a new nurse, because if you don't count your narcotics right and you make a mistake, it's so easy for somebody to pin it on you because you're new. So after you count your narcotics, what you usually do is you get reports. So you sit down and you hear the report and you ask the nurse, okay, is there anybody who's really combative that I should know about? Anybody I should watch out for? And then she tells you, if she's really nice, she'll tell you, oh yeah, watch out for this nurse. This patient didn't take their meds. This patient is due for I don't know, an antibiotic at this time. Don't forget to flush this. Don't forget to do that. And then you will know what to do. So don't forget to ask for help. Sometimes you'll get help, sometimes you won't, but it doesn't hurt to be nice to everybody and ask for help, because you're going to be giving a lot of medications on the 3 to 11 shift. There has been times when I worked in a nursing home when I had 40 residents to give medications. It was a lot. I didn't have to do any charting, but that still was a lot. One time I was working in a nursing home in Queens, and I had to give 60 patients their medications, and I had to do charting, and I had to do report, and that was a lot. And in this other nursing home, I had to do 20 medications and treatments and everything. So it's like, you never know what you're gonna get. 3 to 11 shift usually has a lot of medication, so that's just giving you a heads up. During the 3 to 11 shift, one thing that distinguishes it from any other shift is that if the patient is on G-tube, the G-tube patients, usually that's when their feedings will be hanged up during the 3 to 11 shift. Usually around 5 p.m. that's when it's due. So this is what you're gonna do to not waste time. You're going to take a piece of paper or take your notebook and then have a section for your notebook, like 3rd floor, and you are going to go through the medics and say, patient 302B, Joshua. And you're going to write, Joshua is on longevity 1.2, and then the size of the can, either 1500 or 1200. You're gonna write down either if they're on the bigger bottle or the smaller bottle. What you're trying to do is you're going to write down each patient's name and what feeding are they going to be receiving in that shift, right? So you're going to go through the whole medics and write down which patient is getting which G-tube feeding, what type of G-tube feeding. So they could be on longevity 1.2, Glucerna 1.5, longevity 1.5, 1500, and then write down the rate at which it's flowing. Sometimes the flow of the nutrition is pre-calibrated on the machine, and sometimes you have to manually put it. So make sure you write all that down. So you're gonna write all that piece of information down on your sheet, because what you're gonna do is, before you start any medication, trust me, this tip is gold, okay? This will help you get through this shift. You are going to go into the room where they store all the feeding, and you are going to get all the feeding that you need for the shift, and then have your Sharpie marker and mark down the feedings. So for example, if James has an order for longevity 1.5, and they have the 1500 bottle that they're going to be taking, you're going to write down on the feeding bottle. Usually they have the rate. You're going to write down their name, and you're going to write down the rate at which it's going to flow, and then you are going to hang it up in the patient's room. Nursing homes, they not only provide the G-tube feeding, but they also provide the water at the same time, like the water to flush it is like a 2-chamber thing, or some nursing home, they only just provide the feeding. Whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna prime it. Okay, you're gonna prime the feeding, make sure you get all the feeding, all the water out, all the gas out, all the air out, whatever, and then you're gonna hang it up, and then you're not gonna connect it yet, and then you're gonna leave it because it's not time to connect the feeding yet. And you're gonna go to every single person who's on G-tube and just hang it up, so that when you go when you're giving your med pass and you reach to the patient who has a G-tube, you just quickly give them their medication and just hang up the feeding. You know what I mean? Because this will make your life easier instead of giving medication and stop, running to the stock room, taking your feeding and then hanging it up and then giving medication and then stop. You know, like, you don't have time for that. You know what I mean? And a lot of times if you're slow and family members come, maybe if they come around 6 or 7 and they see that their patient still doesn't have their feeding up, people can get really mad at that, and family members can get really upset at that, and they could take that as like you neglecting and you're not feeding them and you're making them starve. So that is a very serious thing. So I think that method will not only allow you to give the feeding, but give the feeding in a timely, effective manner, so that you can just give your medication, hang the feeding, give your medication, hang the feeding, so that like it's easier for you. So that's my number 1 tip.